Good evening, I'm John Carter. Welcome to Poland Daily. Today, the March 4th movement was formed from the initiative of parents' organisations in Warsaw, including the Mother and Father Foundation. The goal of the initiative is to counteract the provisions of the LGBT+ declaration recently signed by the Mayor of Warsaw, Rafał Trzaskowski, which includes, among others, an introduction of sexual education specialists from NGOs in elementary schools.
In response to the controversial records of the LGBT+ declaration recently signed by the Mayor of Warsaw, Rafał Trzaskowski, today the Mother and Father Foundation formed a March 4th movement associating parents who are against the declaration's records.
This is an initiative which was formed by parents and entrepreneurs who disagree with demoralization of children, building an extreme left-wing constituency, but also with stealing money from private entrepreneurs. These standards directly state that we should completely get rid of the conservative standards from public life in Central Europe countries like Poland.
The LGBT+ card concerns an introduction of an anti-discriminational sexual education to every school in line with the guidelines of the World Health Organization, according to which children up to the age of 4 learn about expressing their needs, wishes and limits, for instance when they play doctor. The children between the age of 4 and 6 have the right to the information about the joy and pleasure resulted from touching your own body. Children between the ages of 6 to 9 will be given basic knowledge about different contraception methods, and children between 9 and 12 will find out how to use these methods.
These are just the records of a declaration which are supposed to show parents what they should pay attention to. Unfortunately, nowadays there is a huge sexualization of life and we can't do anything about it. Everyone has easy access to the internet and no one wants to change that, so sexual education begins from the 4th grade of the elementary school.
The Warsaw LGBT+ declaration, apart from the actions in favor of homosexual people, concerns creation of the program that introduces sexual education specialists from NGOs to assure help and support for children and teenagers. The editor-in-chief of the Do Rzeczy Weekly, Paweł Lisicki, is of a completely different opinion.
I wouldn't want an LGBT coordinator to help my child with finding its sex or what's his sexual preferences, and I bet that every parent in Poland thinks the same. It's not about the help at all, it's about talking around. It happened in all European countries. I hope Poland will resist.
Parents who are against the introduction of the LGBT to Polish schools can sign the Card of Freedom available on the internet.
The 4th edition of the Żabinski Awards was held at the Royal Castle in Warsaw today. The award, founded by the From the Depth Foundation, is given to Poles who rescued Jews during World War II.
The plane, which crashed in the uninhabited area, belonged to the 23rd Tactical Air Base stationed in Minsk Mazowiecki. According to the spokesman of the Air Forces, the plane had its technical flight and was controlled by an experienced pilot who survived. The MiG-29 plane's flight will be held until the reason for the crash can be determined by the State Commission on Aircraft Accidents investigation.
A MiG-29 fighter jet of the Polish Air Force crashed soon after taking off this afternoon in the vicinity of Warsaw. The pilot managed to eject before the crash and is in hospital in a stable condition. It's the 3rd MiG-29 to crash in the last 2 years. The Polish Minister of Defence, Mariusz Błaszczak, announced last week that Poland will replace its Soviet fighter jets with 32 new 5th-generation fighters, most likely Lockheed Martin F-35s.
Well, one of the things, we're a very active foundation that has a lot of people reaching out to us. And there were so many people here in Poland who took part in the saving of a Jew during the Second World War. And so for us, we have these people reach out to us often or hear stories. Then we work with different historians, different databases and archives to corroborate and find out the truth behind the stories. And, you know, it's pretty rare for someone to lie about something like that. And until today, we've only heard true stories and researched and found document
Poles who rescued Jews during the war kept it a secret even after the war had ended. Only the closest family would be aware of these honorable acts. However, in 1998, priest Tadeusz Rydzyk, during a Radio Maria broadcast, called for people to reveal and share any stories regarding Poles who saved Jews during the Holocaust. Later, in 2010, we published a book titled Worthy Sons of the Republic, containing testimonies from these radio listeners. That was the beginning. The tradition of helping others ran in our family. We knew it was imperative to help because we were once in need of it. I was raised in an impoverished family. We were not wealthy enough to feed many people, but we did the best we could. In 1942, when the Warsaw Ghetto had become overcrowded, 3 Jewish women came to us with their 2 children and we took them in, although people advised us not to do so. Fortunately, nobody reported us.
The results from the Estonian election are in, and in an upset, the Social Liberal Reform Party managed to beat the ruling pro-Russian Centre Party. The far-right populist EKRE party took 3rd place with a record-high 17.8% of the votes, more than doubling their previous election result.
Estonia's opposition centre-right Reform Party pulled off a surprise win over Prime Minister Jüri Rata's governing centre-left party. The Reform Party won almost 29% of the votes, while the Centre Party was supported by 23.1% of voters. The results means that the leader of the Reform Party, Kaja Kallas, will likely become the country's first female Prime Minister.
We came out of that hole, we were strong together and we supported each other, and this is a big deal, so thank you. And now the real work starts to put together a government and start to govern this country again with some sense.
A record number of voters decided to put their trust in the right-wing populist EKRE party. Kaja Kallas, however, ruled out forming a coalition government with them.
They are the only ones that I've said that I can't work in the government with, because our values are so different. And what I mean by values, of course, all this boosting of hatred, which is new to our society.
Almost 1 in 5 voters believe that EKRE should rule the country. I voted for EKRE, the Conservative People's Party of Estonia. We need a change, but it's also kind of a protest vote. I do not create illusions to myself, but as the stagnation which we have had for quite a while has started to really irritate me, I thought that for a change I will vote for something new. Will it make Estonia's life better? I am very doubtful, but at least it's a protest to show that things need to change. The deputy chairman, Martin Helme, claims that the party's success is a result of Estonia's grown tired of radical liberalism.
We are a normal democratic reaction to the out-of-control radical liberalism that has been introduced to Estonian politics over the past 5 years or so. Absolute majority of Estonians do not support gay marriage. Absolute majority of Estonians do not support open borders. And we were the only party who defended those positions in the broader political scene for quite some time. And I'm happy to say that we've actually managed to pull all the political center towards us in Estonia.
ECRA's success follows the European trend of right-wing populist parties gaining strength. The Europe-wide elections in May to the European Parliament will reveal the true strength of the trend.
Thank you very much for joining us here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily Weather. It's followed by the business, culture, travel and the history.